So before we dive into our trigonometry unit, there's just a little bit we need to review about angles from grade 10. First off, trigonometry is just the Greek word for triangle geometry. And we use Greek letters actually a lot in trigonometry to represent angles. So you're really familiar, I'm sure, with theta. Theta is like this, sort of like a zero with a line through it. You'll see lots of that. Sometimes you'll also see omega. We use lowercase omega a lot for angles anyway. Uppercase omega tends to be ohms and things like that in physics, but lowercase omega we'll use for angles. Notice the omega looks a bit like a W. It's not the same thing. A W is pointy, right? Omega is rounded like that, so you're not going to draw W's. It's an omega. Beta looks kind of like a curly B thing. So notice a B would have a stick, and then the rest of the B. A beta, the stick is attached, kind of smooth like that. So similar to a B, but not quite the same. Alpha is a backwards fish thing. There's a lowercase alpha. And the other letter we'll use sometimes is phi. But by and large, the most common one is theta. We'll use theta 90% of the time for our angles. Sometimes we just have more than one angle. We need a few other names for them. All right, so naming our different angles. If your angle is less than 90 degrees, we'd call it an acute angle. If it is exactly 90 degrees, that is a right angle. If it's greater than 90 degrees, that's an obtuse angle. And if it's greater than 180 degrees, then that becomes a reflex angle. All right, so how do we do calculations with angles? It's pretty intuitive. If you see supplementary angles, those are two angles that are sort of along a line here. And the full angle from here all the way to there, that's going to be 180 degrees, right? So supplementary angles are two angles within that. We divide that 180 degrees up. Maybe let's say this one was 30 degrees. Well, then we have to make 180 degrees here in total. So the rest must have been 150 degrees. In other words, the 30 plus the 150 has to add up to 180 degrees. Complementary angles are any two angles inside a 90-degree angle. So that's a right angle there. That's how we indicate a right angle. The whole thing is 90. If this part here is 60, well, then the rest would have to be 30, because 30 degrees plus 60 degrees adds up to 90 degrees. One other time we'll be calculating angles is inside a triangle. So if you have any old triangle, it doesn't have to be a right angle, it can be any triangle at all the angles in a triangle will add up to 180 degrees. So if you know two of them, you already know the third. So what I know, if I call this angle theta, classic name for an angle, right? I would say that 180 degrees is equal to all those angles added up. Theta plus 50 degrees plus 70 degrees. Rearranging that for theta, I would get 180 minus 50 minus the 70 equals theta. And what I get here is theta is 60 degrees. So that angle in the triangle must be 60 degrees.